All right, sitting with Joe Cohen. Joe, tell everybody the name of your company and a little bit about the intricacies of what you guys do.
The company is SelfDecode. We have an AI precision health coach, essentially. So what that does is we take a DNA test, a saliva test, and based on that, we could look at what are you at risk for, what diseases are most likely to kill you, and how to track and prevent them, and also how to optimize the body in all different kinds of ways,
Right.
diet, lifestyle.
Right.
And also, you could upload lab tests and any kinds of health data, and we could analyze it, and then you can ask questions to the AI health coach to get answers, whatever questions you have.
You guys also will have like an API capability.
Yeah. We also have an ability for other apps that want to do precision health. You could create a health app and basically maybe market it to a certain niche or in like, and you could use the technology that we have.
Right.
We allow other companies to use the technology. We spend a lot of money on the core technology, and it's very difficult to build. So we allow other companies to utilize that and do their own marketing and own branding and own advertising. It's we're looking at 100 million variants. We've published studies showing the validity, the predictive power, and it's the most predictive for genetics in the world. And then we built a whole bunch of tools around that, like so that you could look up. Basically, it prioritizes what recommendations you need to do, and it just makes it very easy to understand what you need to do, what makes sense for you as an individual.
I advise clients to get genetic testing done, wealth management, but the niche is I want you, your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, all to get genetic testing. Any variants that pop up, I want to then use the algorithm that we designed, that we patented, to go out, search the universe for any company, any sector fund, any doctor, any specialist, anything that has to do with a keyword hit on those variants that's going on in the world. And I want it to evolve as you get older, because obviously we know 90% of what we could speak intelligently about, probably 90% of the genome right now. It's going to get better and better over the next 5 years. I think it's going to get to 100% pretty quickly. So as you grow, as you age, the algorithm will continuously search the universe. Any company, any clinical trial that happens that pertains to the potential medical risk that could affect you or your loved ones, we want to execute a trade on that company. Or we want to go out and find a specialist that maybe has a treatment that you didn't even know existed, on the other side of the world.
Interesting.
Right. So we need the DNA analysis to be able to do that for our clients.
Right. Yeah. So the way I foresee it is, number one, the way longevity and health span work is everybody is predisposed to something, right? Even if you have a shitty diet, like the centenarians, they found actually people who lived to 100, they didn't do anything different. They just actually lived normal lives.
Right.
Some of them smoked, some of them didn't. Some of them ate junk food, some didn't. It was kind of just like anything. It was
some
just like normal people.
Blue zone regions.
Not even the blue zones. I'm talking about centenarians in the U.S. They didn't do anything different. The only thing that they could figure out from them is that they just didn't get diseases for another 20 years that killed them. So like, normally if you get Alzheimer's, you're going to get it in your 70s or 80s, right? If you could push that off by 20 years, all of a sudden you live to 100.
Right.
Right? If you find out what did people die from, they die from something. Cardiovascular disease, cancer. What we do is help you predict what you're going to die from. And we tell you how to track it. Here's exactly what you're going to die from, what are the labs to track it, and what to do to prevent it.
Right.
And then you could also use it to optimize your health in the current state. But it's a little different than what you're doing with the specific variants. We're looking at millions of variants and saying, okay, we validated these models on 1 million people, and you have a very high risk for this.
If you have a predisposition to heart disease or Alzheimer's or something specific, that's where I can help, because I could find companies that are in that space, and maybe we could add something to your portfolio based on that.
So that's what so we tell you exactly how to prevent that.
Right.
What lab tests to do, what recommendations to do, and so you can see all the references as well. So a lot of people don't realize that for every condition that kills you, there's usually risk factors in the lab results. Sometimes in your symptoms, So it could be something like, you have higher people who have Alzheimer's have higher levels of this in their blood or whatever. And these are risk factors. They're associated with these conditions, and you want to get as many of these markers in the optimal range. So I measure 300 biomarkers on myself, and I get them all in the optimal range. It's a game for me to get all of them in the optimal range. If you're less advanced and you're just like, okay, look, I need to focus a little more. I'm not a professional biohacker. You're going to say, what am I highest risk for? Let me work to make sure those specific biomarkers are in the optimal range. So if you're highest risk for cardiovascular disease, you're going to pay more attention to your lipids, your LPA, your LPPLA2, all the different markers that are related to cardiovascular disease. And there's quite a few of them.
It's fascinating. How long have you been the CEO of this company?
2016.
16?
2016, yeah.
Nice. And it's evolved, obviously, like night and day since like...
Correct. It's always evolving. And this is the third generation where, AI is being used throughout the app. And we're building automated action plans. The recommendations algorithm is taking into account many, many different kinds of data, symptoms, conditions, goals, lifestyle risks, labs. And one of the key elements of the third generation is also, it's this longevity screener as well that I mentioned.
Yes.
And then the last part is this AI health coach. So when you have a lot of data, sometimes everybody has a different question, right? Like you can't predict what their question is. And the AI health coach really just guides you through it based on your data. So it's a GPT that you can communicate with in regular language.
That's awesome.
It gives you answers based on your data. And and so we work with a bunch of companies to...
it's the way it should be. It's like the writing's on the wall. And I bet you 2 years from now, you're going to have an AI that's going to be even more wow than the one that you have today.
Yeah. I mean, we're riding on the AI technologies that are getting more and more advanced, and we're taking them and putting them into precision health.
It's awesome. A very, very, very cool concept. So real quickly, it's a swab, right? We didn't even talk about the process. Like
it's a swab.
If anybody's watching, they want to know, like, how do I do it?
Swab.
Just a quick swab inside the cheek.
That's it.
Put it inside the tube, cap it, put it in the return envelope.
That's it.
It goes to your labs. And then you guys are going to analyze it. I heard it takes like a few weeks.
Couple weeks.
Okay.
We look at 100 million variants. We give you 650 reports. Some of them are summary reports, like there's an executive summary report, but you could go down. We kind of try to make it high level. So you got your like executive summary reports, but there's all different kinds of features that you could use. You could look at all your top recommendations and you could go as deep as you want.
Is there an ongoing like subscription or something?
There is for the GPT mainly, right? So the GPT and the recommendations algorithm are constantly changing. If you upload labs, every time you upload, your recommendations are going to slightly adjust.
So it's a monthly thing, or it's every time?
Annual.
Annual.
Yeah.
I didn't even get the annual price. What was it?
So it's $120, $10 a month, $10 a month.
Well worth it. And then the upfront for the initial testing was a few hundred?
Yeah, it's $397.
$400. That's great. I think that's actually priced very, very...
It's priced well.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I think for what you're getting, we deliver quite a lot.
We did a great conversation. It was great to meet you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, man. That was cool. If you like stories like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms.